Oh boy, here we go.
ReZero is the most boring show that I've seen in the last year. Everything is just something I've seen before, but with fewer details. Cliche upon cliche just piles up into an uninteresting story with uninteresting characters. Each plot device just seems to make everything irrelevant, removing all of the tension from whatever's happening. It's a show that never convinced me to start watching, and never convinced me to keep watching. So why did I watch it? First off, I never drop shows. I don't think there's a single show that I stopped watching partway through. With a few exceptions. Come on, you didn't really expect me to watch the whole Pokemon series just because I saw it as a kid, right? Second, ReZero was so phenomenally popular since it started airing that I felt compelled to watch it. Third, I genuinely think it's a good show. That's a very infrequent paradox. When a story is boring to you, but you see that it's well done. I've seen many other transported to a fantasy world anime, but none of them really reached the level of quality as ReZero. I honestly think it's a good anime, a great one even. But what is a good anime? What do you call good? Well, I think a good piece of fiction is one that knows what it wants to do and then accomplishes it. A story that aims to be something and then hits right on the mark. What did ReZero want to do? It wanted to depict a fantasy setting in the thriller genre, focusing more on suspense rather than character development. Looking at all of the characters, none of them stray far from an archetype. The kind princess is a kind princess, the tomboy thief is a tomboy thief, the stoic butler is a stoic butler, the twins are twins, and the angsty young adult is someone from the audience. Everyone is just basic and plain, with the exception of maybe one character that switches from just one archetype to another. And nobody has distinguishing personality traits that make them different from similar characters in other shows. They're all horribly dull. However, that means that the plot rarely has to explain a character's backstory, or to bring up a flashback. Nobody is interesting, but that just means the time wasn't put in to give depth or detail to personalities. The time was instead put into driving the plot forward. And with regards to moving the plot of main character saves everyone, the narrative never pauses to dwell on other things. Events keep progressing towards how the protagonist saves the day. Here's another problem with the show. There is no tension. Why? Well, for anyone planning to watch the show, here is where spoilers begin. Spoilers. You see, Subaru, our main character, gets sent back to an earlier point in time whenever he dies. It's like he gets a save point every once in a while, and every time he dies, the save point loads up automatically. But the save points also happen automatically, meaning he has no control of how far back he goes. Why does this remove all the tension? Well, it basically means that he can never fail. Every death is another opportunity to fix his mistakes. There's no reason to hope that he succeeds because failure is a literal impossibility. The only way he can mess something up permanently is if his save point messes up somehow, but that would be a major cop-out by the writer because it would be an unexpected arbitrary change to a plot device that was arbitrary to begin with. But ReZero knows that what it loses by using the gimmick, it gains back by doing some interesting things. Each time a save point loads up, Subaru takes a different set of actions to try and avoid dying again. He meets new, different people, or finds something he didn't know about, or learns more about someone else's motives. This removes all need for exposition or narrative pauses. There's no need to tell the audience what's going on through dialogue. The audience can simply see the many different things that are happening in the same span of time through Subaru's eyes. Subaru himself can be present at all the different things that are happening in the same day, because he is, in essence, time traveling repeatedly. There's always something new happening, and the main character can always be written to be there to see it. There's also the matter of suspense. As Subaru learns more and more about what's occurring in the world, a gradual build-up happens as all the plot points converge and a climactic conclusion happens at the end of each story arc. Subaru puts together all the pieces and comes up with the solution to everyone's problems. Along with a cliffhanger at the end of each episode, the show never lets go of the suffocating suspense it creates. But it just wasn't appealing to me, I guess. I thought all of the characters were boring, so I didn't care what happened to them. Hell, it's not even that I hated the characters and hoped to see them die. It just, I didn't want to see them at all. The plot was high stakes, but the stakes revolved around the boring characters and the setting was pretty cliche to boot. The visuals were pretty to look at, but they were used to show a cliche setting that I had no interest in. Nothing in the anime was fun for me. A note, however, was that this anime was made by Studio White Fox. They haven't made too many shows, but some of their first works are Katanagatari and Steins Gate, with Katanagatari being centered purely around character development and Steins Gate being a mix of ReZero and Katanagatari. Steins Gate is considered by many to be a great series, being one of those shows you have to watch, despite most agreeing that plot progression is absurdly slow. It can also be classified as a thriller much like ReZero, but it revolves around character development rather than high-stakes heroics. I like Steins Gate much more than ReZero. It's a much more engaging work of fiction. It's just a curious fact that this studio has produced some great shows spanning a large number of different styles. I'm not saying ReZero is a perfect show, it's not. I wouldn't even say that it's one of the best shows or a must-watch or definitely the anime of the year. It doesn't even come close to any of that. But it is a good show. It's not garbage, it's not terrible, it's not mediocre, it's not lackluster, it's genuinely good. Even if it bored me half to death every episode. Get it? Bored me half to death? Because if it literally bored me to death, I would have been sent back in time and would have to watch the show over again. Maybe I could go back far enough that people didn't fetishize a blue-haired maid twin. I hate anime twins. Has anyone watched Futakoi? It's a story about twins. Everyone is a twin. I hate that show. Everyone finishes each other's sentences. They all fall in love with the same Asian kid. It's ridiculous.